Investors are hoping for a higher opening of trade on the JSE this morning after yesterday's firm performance. The local bourse seems to be tracking European stocks while also trading higher. For more on these and other stories, we're joined by Andile Buthelezi, equity analyst at Sentio Capital. Andile, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning to you. Thanks.
Now, resources companies were a major boost for the JSE yesterday. What is expected to drive market movements today?
Yeah, I think you touched on it in your opening there. We did have a positive close yesterday. Very much is carried on into this morning's session so far anyways. A lot of our market is in the green. And this carries over from yesterday's US session. US session closed in the green. This morning, Asian markets were pretty mixed. But I think generally speaking, across the world markets, there is a bit of positivity amongst equities. And the irony is that the positivity is driven by bad news. The bad news that we saw came through on Friday, which was the US jobs numbers that we saw coming in below expectations. How the market chose to interpret that is that maybe the market or the economy that is in the US is not as strong as what we initially thought, which could convince Fed officials to potentially cut interest rates a bit sooner than what the market had thought prior to the actual release of the data. So to put it into context, before the release of the jobs numbers, the market is expecting two interest rate cuts this year rather. Post the release of the numbers, the market is now expecting 3 interest rate cuts. I do think that we shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves though, because the inflation number is still not where the Fed wants it to be. So that's going to make their job difficult in terms of having to actually cut the interest rate. But yeah, very much so that right now what's driving the positivity across markets in general is the expectation that, okay, interest rate cuts are on again in terms of what the Fed is likely to do.
Amazon seems to have launched quietly in South Africa, according to reports. Their website is certainly live. Andile, what do we know, and how will this arrival of Amazon reshape e-commerce in the country?
Yeah, I think first of all, from a big picture perspective, I think it's a positive that a big company such as Amazon has chosen to enter into a market like South Africa. That just means that the investment opportunity within SA for those that are brave enough is still very much there. Look, Amazon is a big player with a big balance sheet. So the incumbents operating within SA definitely can't ignore them. They specialize in the speed at which they can get the deliveries out to the different people, of course. So for me, it'll be interesting to see whether or not the incumbents then use that as an opportunity to up their game and potentially increase the speed at which they deliver their products. Amazon has been disruptive in all the global markets that they've entered. Pretty sure that it'll pretty much be a similar situation. And on our shows, I don't expect a different outcome to that. I myself haven't tried it in SA yet. I don't know about you, but definitely looking forward to it.
All right. Now, Property Group Attack has announced it now owns 100% of Mall of Africa, one of the biggest shopping centers on the continent. Tell us more about this move.
Yeah, so they were the largest shareholder to begin with anyway. So in this transaction, they're just acquiring the stake in the mall that they don't own. So after this transaction, they'll be a 100% owner of the mall. And this just ties in with their stated intention to spend a little bit more money in properties that they already own and properties that they already control. Mall of Africa, of course, is the mall that was meant to be the rival to Sandton City in terms of their offering. And from the statement that they released this morning, ATAC does seem to be pleased with the current performance of the mall. They do say that it continues to benefit from the increased densification of the Waterfall City area in general. The purchase price is around R1 billion and some change. And importantly, I think that number signifies that it's at an 8% discount to the most recent valuation as at the 31st of December 2023. So I'm sure the ATAC management team as well as the ATAC shareholders will be pleased that they're getting to acquire the remaining stake that they don't own in this particular mall at a discount as opposed to a premium, which is normally the case with transactions such as this. So yeah, I think positive for them. Obviously, they have a positive outlook on the performance of the mall, which is why they've chosen to go out and buy the stake that they don't own already.
Renewable energy company Renogen has seen its share price soar after it started its much-awaited production of helium. Tell us more.
Yeah, so this is obviously a massive relief for this management team because there were significant project delays here. Look, big projects, big scale projects, big budget projects very rarely come online within budget and on time. But I think the extent of the delays in this particular project may have disappointed quite a few that have been tracking this particular company. which is why the share price has come under quite a bit of pressure over the last year. So the fact that they've been able to now produce the helium is a massive milestone for them. And that is why the share price probably reacted positively, initially running about 7%. It'll be interesting now to see whether or not the ramp up is actually according to schedule. Like I said, 7% was a good rally in the share price for them, but a lot of catching up to do, just given how weak the share price has been over the last year.
All right, thank you very much for that update. And of course, we'll keep you up to date as and when the news and the markets develop.